They have been invited. Number two, I think their position is very clear. They want a certain degree of independence. They have been invited. They have not yet made a decision, or they have not replied us. But I think the position is quite clear. They are seeking to be their own entity without any encumbrance of being part of another coalition, so they can preserve their independence of mind and independence of policy making, which we fully respect, and there is no reason for us not to respect. And of course, like any political party or any political entity, the reason why we are different parties is because we have different stands on different issues, right? When you enter into a coalition, even if you are a coalition, there are two factors that determines whether or not a coalition is a coalition. Number one, do you enter an electoral battle with the same flag? That's number one. The other two, do you agree on a common policy platform or a common agenda to govern, right? So the fact is, they feel like there are certain things and certain matters and certain policies in which they want to maintain their independence, which is fine, but it does not mean that we can't have some kind of an agreement before and after election in which could be discussed at any point. So I think quite often the invitation or otherwise of a party to join a coalition is actually quite academic and is often a red herring. They have been invited. Number two, I think their position is very clear. They want a certain degree of independence. Number three, none of that means that we cannot be friends or cannot be comrades in arms in our fight against corruption, in our struggle towards a better Malaysia. All these are, number one, red herrings. Number two, I think these are issues that are best discussed when we've come together to solve the problems of the nation and the economy and the people. We together formed a government in Sabah. It was Warisan Plus, or Pakatan Harapan plus Warisan. And even then, the position was always quite clear. Warisan wanted a certain degree of independence from being being part of Harapan. That was never hidden. It was always in plain sight. But it never was an issue when we were government. But it just so happens that now we're in opposition. It's a much more eyeball-catching issue to say, why don't you invite them? Why are they not part of your coalition? Why is the opposition not in its entirety in one block? But for me, why are we not questioning in more vigor? Why Pakatan Nasional is the way it is now? Why UMNO is not part of Pakatan? Why are there not more questions asked about that? So for me, why the red herrings? But why do we not focus on what are our common agendas? I'll even be extremely frank. That is an extremely important objective that would bring us to a table where seat negotiations will be the order of the day, or the order of the month, or the order of, or the agenda of the moment. Seat negotiations, so that at least we can try to find a consensus on at least not to be competing against each other and only against a common adversary to get the best possible result for the people. And those negotiations happen even amongst coalition partners. So, I think it's all by and by. It's all academic.